Is the guest speaker here already? Yes? All right, so we have a very special guest speaker today. And we had to keep the name under the wraps because we didn't know we were going to be able to secure the speaker. And since this speaker is internationally and nationally recognized, there were some constraints on his contract. So we needed to make sure we did not advertise the name of the person and so on, as the work that he usually does goes for a very high price. And he's actually working with us at a very special rate. So there were some characteristics that we were looking for when we were trying to find a speaker. We wanted it to be an engaging speaker. This speaker meets that. We wanted that speaker to be nationally recognized. This speaker is nationally and internationally recognized, so double check. Then we needed the speaker to be entertaining, because if you're going to talk about education master plan, at least you need a joke here and there, so check. And we needed it to do the work for a very, very, very big thank you. So that was part of the challenge as we were trying to negotiate the contract. So we make calls everywhere. We try to use our connections and influences across the state to get someone. And we were running out of auctions in some ends and some others. The list kept growing, and eventually we said, okay, I think we found the person. And once we found the person, the contract was done very fast. And the truth is that we didn't even have to look outside of Cerritos College to find the talent that we were looking for. Among you, you have a lot of very talented people as colleagues that are recognized for their work they do across the state, across the nation, and across the world. And sometimes we spend a lot of time thinking, who do we need to bring to campus to help us with something? Who do we need to bring to campus to teach us something when we do have the expertise here on campus? So I'd like to present you our 2017-2018 keynote speaker, Dr. David Betancourt.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm really glad I brought my coat now because I wasn't sure what was going to happen here, but not true story I'm going to tell you. A couple days ago I was talking to Rick over here, and he said he had a dream about me in my vest, and I'm not going to go past that because I know Valencia's here with Title IX, so I'm not going to say anything more about that. I do want to spend some time today, though, just sharing with you a little bit about me maybe that you don't know. So thanks for advancing that slide, by the way, Dr. Fierro. Okay, that was a joke, but okay, that's okay. So most of you know I'm a family man, and that's all good. And most of you know me also as the director of bands here at Cerritos College. Some of you may recognize that logo, the CTX. Yeah, I'm not. Oh, you go. All right. Yeah, free stickers here at the end. But I wanted to share something with you that I don't think I've ever shared with anybody, any of my colleagues here at Cerritos, and I share it a lot of other places that I travel, and I thought, why haven't I shared this with anybody here? And that's that I'm a first-generation college student, okay? Okay, if you're going to clap for that, you're going to be clapping the whole time, so just relax. All right. And so if the definition of a first-generation college student is someone whose parents have not attended college, okay? And you think about that for a second. I mean, right away, we've taken away a support system there, right? Even if my parents had the best intentions, absolute best in trying to help me any way they could, they'd never experienced the college system. They'd never experienced any part of it. I couldn't go to them and say, hey, listen, I want to do this, and I'm thinking about college, and they couldn't say, well, when I went to college, they couldn't say any of that, right? Actually, here at Cerritos, and actually this is sort of a nationwide stat, 50% of our students are first generation. And that's actually an old stat. I was discovering in my travels recently that The more current number is 55%, all right? Now, I don't want to get too scientific on you, but if you're having a hard time reading that number, okay, that's 100% of our student population right there. If you look really close, you'll see they're very diverse. Okay, I took a long time to find that picture, so I'm really not impressed that you're not oohing and ahhing. Because look at those slices, come on now. Now, so half of them, that's what it looks like. This is my scientific graph right there for the stats people. I did this just a couple weeks ago at a different college, and nobody said anything, and I realized it's because they were looking for the 55%. And this is, if you haven't seen, that's 50%. Right? It's really hard to find a pizza at 55%. But there's the thing. Now, what does that mean to us, really? You know, so first generation, 55% of our students are in that mark. Well, that's really impactful if you look at it a different way. Okay, this chart here is showing us sort of the achievement gap and also the opportunity gap that there is here. So on this side here, let's say the students who actually receive a bachelor's degree, right? If you look at those students and say, okay, how many of those students had parents with no diploma? Some college, bachelor's, their parents had bachelor's, or all the way up to the other end, right? Advanced degrees. What does that do to the numbers? Well, you can see right away. So if your parents didn't go and didn't have a high school diploma, 12% of those kids from those parents will go and get bachelor's. Okay? Go all the way to the other end, and you see how the opportunity gap shrinks like crazy. If both parents have received advanced degrees, 59% of those students have gone on to get bachelor's, at least. Those are staggering numbers, because we're not dealing with that percentage, right? And in fact, my personal story is, down here, my parents did not go to high school. My grandparents did not go to high school. My dad worked in the fields until he couldn't work anymore. I was actually raised by my grandparents. And on top of that, it wasn't just that I didn't have the support there from their experience. I actually got to a point in my high school career where my parents said, we're done with you. And it was for this simple reason, and you've all heard this story before from the students here at Cerritos. I had the opportunity as a senior, by the spring semester when I was trying to decide, I could, one, take that ticket to Annapolis Academy that my dad had gotten me. To this day, I have no idea how he did that. I really don't. I wasn't that smart. But somehow he got me into the academy. I just had to sign the papers. Or I was offered a full ride to Northern Arizona University, or a half ride for 2 years to Berklee College of Music. Something pulled me to Berkeley. And I grew up here in Southern California, by the way, okay, in Fallbrook, California, the marijuana capital of the world. I only tell the truth. So I had those three choices. And I had to go and tell my dad, my grandfather, okay, my grandparents raised me, but I told my dad, I said, look, the night before I was going to go drive down to San Diego and sign the papers, I said, I can't do this, Dad. It's not my path. And you have to understand that my dad was here for me. He was on a pedestal. Nobody could be better than him. And for me to do that to him, I felt like I really let him down, but at the same time, I knew I couldn't do it. And so then I said, and I'm not going to NAU either. So then Mom says, okay, good luck. You're out of the picture. We're moving on to the next child. So I got no, yeah, there were 4 of us, so they had, you know. So imagine that, and how many of you have heard that story before, something similar, right? Where you hear about a student who's here at Cerritos, basically on their own, trying to figure it out. Because their parents are saying, no, education's not really, go get a job. Go do this, go do that, you know. Or you want to be an artist? Well, you know, what we need you to do is actually have a career. You hear these kinds of things that really just push everybody down. So I guess, I don't know, I wouldn't say I was fortunate. I was maybe like a hardcore first generation is maybe how I would describe myself. I mean, just like I'm there getting slapped around all the time. The other part of this equation is that we look at when students come in here, and if you've taught here for more than, even one semester, you know that students are unprepared coming here. And there's a host of reasons for that. The ones that I just mentioned are 2, but there's one really fundamental reason here that we don't really talk about too much, but it happens all the time, and that's this idea that you know, students, even the best students who come out of the K through 12 system, right, have just spent 12 years with somebody else having ownership of their education. Okay? And if they're really good students, they are really good at doing what they're told to do at the right time, in the right place, efficiently, quickly, well done, all that stuff. But they're doing what other people tell them to do. Somebody else is in charge of their education. Even valedictorians. How many of you have seen a student walk in and you're thinking to yourself, honestly, like, why are they here? Because they should be on a full ride somewhere. And there's a host of reasons, but even those students struggle. And why do they struggle? Because now they come to Cerritos College or any other community college or even the four-year schools, and they go into a whole new system where they are now in charge of their education. But nobody has told them that. Nobody at the high school told them that. And no fault of the high school. It's the system that we've built. It's not the fault of the counselors or the teachers or even the parents. It's a system we built, and in fact, we've done such a good job of trying to make sure they don't fail that by the time they come here, they're primed to fail because everything's been done for them. And now they come here and they have a ton more resources, right? I mean, think about all the resources we have at Cerritos. They have a ton of stuff, but few people get told this one message. Take charge of your education now. If you want to get something, it's here, but you have to go find it and find it over and over again. And so the cumulative effect here is that we've got these students with these just massive boulders. And so actually it looks maybe more like this when you think of one student coming in, and this is what they're tasked with. Regardless of what's behind them, this is what's in front of them, right? So the question I ask is, who's going to help them? Well, the answer is pretty obvious, right? That's what we're here to do. We're here to help them. So what I'd like to do with you today is just share with you this mindset of service and lifelong learning. And just share these ideas with you. And hopefully it inspires you a little bit to take a deep breath and go out and do the same yourself. The first one is service. So I just want to relay this idea of service to you through something that happened to me, and it keeps happening over and over, but the first time it happened. And so to do this, I think I'm going to put this down here for a second. And for those of you who know me, you know I don't usually wear a coat, right? What I usually wear, my wife is here, by the way, so don't get excited when I do this. Rick, calm down, Rick. You ready? Okay. So I usually look like this, right? I wear a waistcoat and I'm good to go. I started doing this, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. I just thought that's, I'm trying to find all different ways to respect our profession and how noble it is. And one of the ways I do it is how I dress. And so I started doing this. Now at the time I was already doing engagements and speaking and traveling and doing stuff like that. I'd go to conferences and different hotels and whatever's going on. And so one of the first times this happened is I'm at a conference or something where I'm meant to be speaking or doing something later that day. And I go down to the hotel in the morning, like in the good places where, like the good conferences, they have like the buffet stuff going on and all the food's out there and you can eat, yeah. So I was all excited. I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's go. And so I go down there and I'm actually with a friend of mine. We're sitting there and I'm just kind of like at the food area. And somebody comes up to me and says, hey, we need some more ketchup. I didn't even realize I needed ketchup for the conference. I'm looking around like, my friend actually looks at the guy and goes, hey, do you know who? I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Like, it went right over my head. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh. Okay, I need to lose some weight. No. It was, so it was what I was weighing. And so I just laughed. And then I go to another conference, and it happens again. Hey, you're kind of running low on eggs. Like, okay. And I'm starting to get a little bit offended, because this is happening everywhere I'm going. And I'm thinking, there's something going on here. I don't get it. And, and then, of course, I'd be wearing the conference tag. I'd be like, there's my name. Like, Keynote. So then, and I didn't even know what to do, except I'd be like, oh, okay. I'd just say okay, and I'd walk away, and and then they'd see me up on stage later, and I'd eye contact, they'd be like, But then I realized, after this happened over and over, I realized, hold on, actually, so I'm getting a little bit annoyed and a little bit frustrated with this whole thing. I think I'm too important for myself, and I'm realizing they're not doing anything wrong. They're just asking for help, They think I can help them. And so my whole mind shift changed. I just realized in that moment, it's like, what am I aggravated about? I shouldn't be aggravated. They're asking me for help. I can help. I can serve them. How hard is that to do? It's not hard to do, to serve somebody else. And in fact, it's very rewarding to help other people in any which way possible. Whether it's grabbing ketchup or, they'll still ask me, like, do you know where the bathroom is? I'm like, yeah, I think it's over there. And I'm trying to help them. And now the response is like, what do you mean you think? You work here. I'm like, well, I think I saw it over there. Or, if they want, hey, we're low on salt. Hold on a second. I'll go see if I can get some for you. And I'll go ask somebody who works at the hotel or whatever, say, hey, do you guys have some salt? You guys are kind of out of salt. Cool. They won't ever let me grab it because I'm not an employee. So, they come and do it. But that whole shift to me happened like in a moment. And then I practiced it constantly. And I think that it's something that we can take for ourselves. And, what a great, privilege it is for us to serve our students. But why not honor each other and serve each other as well? To me, that seems to me like a wonderful way to create the kind of culture we want for our students to succeed in. So that's when I'm talking about service. Babylicious, I'm not going to take my jacket back, so you just hold on to it tight like a whoopee. All right? The other part of this that I wanted to mention was the lifelong learning. So I know, we're in an institution, and so we just, the assumption is our students are learning, right? That's what we hope. That's our goal. But more than that, I think hopefully most of us want them to have lifelong learning, this idea that they're learning not just in the classroom and in our moment, but learning outside of the classroom, on campus, outside of that, carrying on into the future and going way beyond that. So our students automatically check, yes? But I think we could take it to a whole new level when we think about what if we embrace that same mindset of lifelong learning as faculty members, right? Oftentimes we're in front of the class and we feel like we need to be like the person that knows everything, and we don't have to be that person. We can be the person that shows them that we're still learning. And what a powerful message that is for our students. What about for our classified? The same thing, right? We're all very competent in our positions, but what if we embrace the idea that we know we could still learn a little bit more? What about our administrators, right? We know they're competent. I mean, they're the ones that lead the flagship, but how wonderful that would be for them to say, yep, we're helping you as much as we can, and I don't know a little bit about that. I'm going to go learn about strong workforce or AB 540 because that's something that's really pertinent right now. So I'm going to grab my hands onto that. What about just all of us in general, right? Regardless of your position. Many of us are parents, and there's, that one it's an easy one because if you're a parent, the moment you stop learning is the moment you get run over, right? So you're constantly on the learning curve, and just when you think you have it, now they're older. And just when you think you have it, now they're older, right? So it's a constant learning curve. It's a great example. So this whole idea of lifelong learning, I think it's really the idea of embracing just the growth in the process itself. Don't focus so much on the end product. Focus on what's going on along the way. And if we do that, I think the next natural question would be, well, what kinds of things would we put on that list of lifelong learning? Here are just a few. Just a few. I mean, if we apply this to our students, imagine this type of student walking out of our community into the larger community. Somebody with empathy, time management skills, responsibility, respect, grit. If we could help foster that for them, what if we could help foster it for ourselves and for each other? Just imagine what that would feel like and the progress we would make beyond that. So take a look at that list. And what I'd like to do is just sort of demonstrate this process a little bit with you. Started with something that I think hopefully most of us continue to work on. I know I do. As I mentioned, I have 4 kids, so I'm constantly working this one. But how many of us here, we deal with students and our front line, those of you who are working in our front lines all the time, you get the same questions day in and day out, right? How many of you have had a day with a student where you felt you lost your patience? Maybe it wasn't even outwardly to them, but in your own mind, you knew. You walked away that day and said, that wasn't a good day for that moment. How many of you have ever had that happen to you? Okay. Now, I want you to notice that I'm raising my hand as well. Okay, and I've been in this for a while, and that's happened. All right, now raise your hand one more time high. I just want to see who's lying. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think if we want to be really truthful with each other, it's hard to do that in public. It's hard to do that. But if we want to be really truthful, it's hard to believe that you've been in this for more than a semester and you haven't had one single incident where you've lost your patience, whether it's inside or not. It's just something that you realize, oh, that could have been better. So the thing about patience is or any one of those that I just showed up there, it's not like you take it and you go, okay, so I don't really know patience that well, so okay, now I know it, I'm done. It doesn't work that way, right? And in fact, music is a really good way to show this sort of lifelong learning process. So if you don't mind, I'd like to play for you a little bit, if that's okay. I have a trumpet right here. You're so quiet now. All right, and so I'm going to play sort of how I sounded in 4th grade. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to play without the mouthpiece. So I'm going to put that over here. And let me just play a little something for you, if you don't mind. Okay. Oh, sorry about the spit there, theater department. Okay, don't electrocute me up here, all right? Here we go. Let's see if I can do this. There it is. Okay, cool. Okay, now I don't want to derail this whole talk, but I just need to say it for a second. Those of you who clapped just now, consider raising your standards a little bit. Okay? That was bad. Don't clap for bad. All right, that's a good title for a talk, actually. I'm going to write that down. Don't clap for bad. All right, so how do we go from that to something like this? You can help me out, too, with this. You'll know what to do. Thank you. Okay, I'll agree with you. That was pretty good, actually. Okay. No, that was good, but let's think about that for a second. So how did I get from the one to this other one? Well, the obvious one, yes, is practice, but it's way more than that, isn't it? I mean, I had to really commit myself to practicing over a lifetime, right? I also had a lot of help. I had teachers that were guiding me. I had colleagues, people, friends that I knew, students that I knew, peers, where I'd hear what they're doing and go, okay, I need to learn how to do that. How do you do that? Constantly learning, also constantly willing to let people know that I was learning. Musicians do this all the time, in front of everybody. It's really interesting if you think about that psyche that's built into them, that they have to be able to continually fail in front of people in order to get better. It's really cool, but one of the other things that's really fascinating about this, as you think about it, okay, that was pretty good. But if you ask my son, he's a senior in high school now, he's getting ready to go to college, he's going to be a music teacher like me, like his dad. And you know what? I said to him, yes, do it, right? I didn't say, okay, good luck. No. All right, so you can see already what's changing there. The future has changed in my family for that simple thing right there. But he's a trumpet player as well. He'll be the first to tell you. If you heard me play just now, you know what he'd say? Dad, that was pretty good. Could be better, Dad. And he would be totally right. It could be better, right? There's no roof on what I do there in terms of my skill building. There's no roof on any of those that you just saw. So if we think about that, and then take maybe a more pragmatic list. Let's take something that close to Cerritos. All these programs here, all these initiatives, all these different ways of teaching, they're all at Cerritos College. Yeah? I mean, I'm just going to pick one, for example, the OER that's jumping off the roof. Our business department here is off the charts with open educational resources. Off the charts with online teaching, right? And there's a big push this year for that, and if you want to learn about that, just keep your ears and eyes open. But it's completely changing the accessibility and equitable education for our students. Just that one thing. Well, we have a whole list here. Some of you are involved in this already. Maybe some of you are looking at this list and there's at least one thing that you don't know about. That's a lot to take in. So the natural question is why? Like why? Why take all this in? Why decide to do this whole thing? And I'm going to explain it to you this way, to something that's really personal to me. Okay? Because it's not always about the teachers. All right? We're a community together. How many of you, by show of hands, know this picture? Okay. If you don't know this picture, this is a picture of the Challenger, 1986. Okay? Now, if you remember that event, they had the most diverse collection of astronauts on that shuttle. Okay? One of them was even a teacher. Her name was Christy McAuliffe. She was from Massachusetts somewhere. She was on that plane. This is the moment when everybody realized there would be no passengers. This mission was a failure. Okay? Everybody died. That was in 1986. What was I doing in 1986? I was starting college. Uh-oh, you just found out my age. Holy smokes. I've been hiding it from the CTX staff for years. Okay. So, 1986, I was going to college. Remember I told you that my parents said, you're done? Like literally done. My first Thanksgiving in college was buying a big slice of pizza, big pizza, hiding in the dorm room because I couldn't afford to stay for the 3 days they were going to charge us, and I couldn't afford to fly home. So I turned off my lights, I stayed in the dorm room, and I rationed my pizza slices for 3 days until they opened the doors back. So the day it broke, I lived like that for about 2 years, every day going to the financial aid office, talking to counselors, talking to frontline people, doing that the whole time. And trying to just figure out how am I going to get past my second year because I didn't have that vision wasn't there. I just knew I had to do it. And then here comes my spring semester of my second year. And I had not found the solution yet. I was majorly stressed. One of the things in the back of my mind was the conversation I had with my mom when the day she said, yeah, good luck. You know, we're not helping you there. You didn't make the right choice. And I had to say to her, I'm going to do it. And then this conversation literally went like this. How are you going to do it? Don't worry, I'm going to do it. How are you going to do it? Don't worry, I'm going to do it. You're not going to do it. How are you going to do it? Don't worry, I'm going to do it. You're not going to do it. Forget it. I'm going to do it. Whatever, you're not going to do it. Back and forth, okay? Until I just walked away from it. So now that's coming in my head over and over, yeah? And I'm looking at what's going on here and going, I'm not going to finish. I'm walking down the halls, literally at Berkeley, down in Boston, and this woman named Susan, I remember her first name, named Susan, she said, hey David, there's a new grant that came out. You want to come and fill this out? She takes me to the frontline people, they help me fill it out, I'm all good. Yeah, sure. I'm like, I'll do it. I got the grant. That grant paid for the rest of my undergraduate degree, everything. Well, it paid all my tuition. I realized in my first year at Berkeley that if you were an RA, you got free room and free food. So I became a real nice person and became an RA. So the combination of those, but she came, she had me fill it out, I got the grant, I was able to finish. This one person in that one moment, literally 30-second conversation, changed my entire life. And the only travesty in that is that I never got to thank her. Never got to thank her. But I can thank you for what you do every day. Frontline, in the class, administratively. Because what we do every day does make a difference, even when we don't realize it. To this day, I regret not being able to find her because my head was so far in the sand, I had no idea what she had done for me. Just as the students have no idea what you're doing for them. Now, how does that whole story relate to this picture? Can anybody guess what the name of the grant was called? The Christy McAuliffe grant. I was the first recipient of that grant. It blows my mind. So, we take all this together, and we think about that original image of this one student with the boulder. Except, if we're embracing this mindset of service and lifelong learning, and we know we're impacting our students every day, whether they tell us or not, we know it's happening, then you've got a different kind of image happening here. because now you've got a little bit of a support group. But more than that, because you're not dealing with one student, you're dealing with entire classes, right? And even beyond that, with colleagues, with each other. If you're willing to share with each other your stories, your success stories, your challenges, we've got a whole team involved. And we can say that this happens in one single day, but it doesn't happen in one single day. It happens over the course of a semester, semester after semester. And we know already that, again, it doesn't just impact the students right in this moment. It impacts their future and their children's future. And that creates a whole different image for us. And this is the image I want us to bring. So if we take another look at that list again, this pragmatic list from Cerritos College, take a look at that. And if you see something there that you're already vested in, can you do me a favor? Can you stand? If you're already vested in one of these here, and notice that other is one of those there. If you're willing to stand, stand. And if you are, and if there's something on this list that you want to learn about, go ahead and stand. If there's something on this list that you're willing to commit to, then go ahead and stand. Take a look at that list, okay? And don't sit down yet. I need a phone because I want to take a picture. This is a contract right here. You're all, no. I'm just kidding. But what I want, look around. This is the team right here. This is the team that's making a difference every day with students, and I hope to yourselves. Go ahead and have a seat. I want to leave you with one final thought here. And that's the idea that beyond the team, beyond what we do together as a team, I hope that you all will think about the fact that each of you has within your capabilities the power to impact students successfully. And not just students, but each other. To make a difference, a positive impact, change people's lives. You each have that opportunity. And so when you come to work every day, I hope you'll take a breath and take a moment to think, what am I learning today? Who am I serving today? Because you do make a difference every single day. And that, to me, is an amazing opportunity. Thank you.